There is a hidden power in the words we speak every day without perceiving their true dimension. The Lord's Prayer is not merely a devotional formula. It is an architecture of the soul, revealed by Rudolf Steiner as a spiritual technology that remained veiled for over 2 millennia. What happens when we cease to see it as a simple request and begin to perceive it as a map of consciousness? When each syllable becomes a door opening to deep layers of the human constitution. Steiner perceived in the Lord's Prayer the entire path of Christian initiation condensed into 7 petitions. This is not mechanical repetition, but an evolutionary orientation for the ego. Each line is a portal to other dimensions of reality. Each word, a key unlocking hidden chambers of the soul. When you traverse it with awakened awareness, you activate forces within your etheric, astral, and spiritual bodies. This is not a prayer of passive hope, but precise, demanding, and transformative inner work. The answer to this prayer's greatest mystery is not stored on the shelves of theological libraries, but in the way you breathe as you speak it. Steiner recovered a knowledge that was self-evident in the ancient mysteries, and that the modern world has completely forgotten. Now, let us together unveil this hidden geometry of 7 stages of a path that leads us back to ourselves. For centuries, the Lord's Prayer became an automatic verbal habit. Words slip from the lips, while the mind has long since wandered elsewhere. The creative power of language has fallen asleep. But in ancient civilizations, speech was still a sacrament. Original sounds carried within them formative forces, not mere symbols, but living entities capable of shaping reality. Those who pronounced them with full presence experienced a direct formative effect on their etheric body. Steiner dedicated decades to training supersensible perception to explore this lost dimension of language. He understood that the Lord's Prayer emerged from an era when human beings still knew how to infuse words with creative power. Even beneath the veil of modern translations, a primordial vibration still pulses within it. A primal melody capable of restructuring your subtle bodies. Most people have prayed for decades without ever sensing this power. Why did this disconnection occur? Steiner mapped how human consciousness has evolved across the millennia. In ancient times, language was imbued with spiritual substance. With the awakening of the individual ego, however, it lost its magical dimension and became a tool of abstract thought, a mere sign. The structure of the Lord's Prayer, nevertheless, preserves the memory of this older way of speaking. It is like a time capsule from an age when words were actions. 7 petitions correspond to 7 levels of consciousness, to 7 bodies of the human constitution: physical, etheric, astral, ego, and beyond. This is not poetic metaphor, but precise spiritual anatomy, elaborated by Steiner from his investigations into supersensible worlds. The formula is mathematically ordered. Each word occupies an exact position. Each phrase resonates within a specific layer of being. The Lord's Prayer functions as an architectural mantra capable of realigning the subtle bodies. Imagine your being as a series of nested shells. Each layer vibrates at a distinct frequency and fulfills a unique function. The physical body is merely the densest, the outermost. Beneath it resides the etheric body, bearer of vital forces. Deeper still lies the astral body, seat of feelings, desires, and passions. And at the center rests the egotha, immortal core that journeys through incarnations. This prayer speaks directly to each of these layers. Within it lies the beginning of all spiritual development. Steiner identified in the first petition, "Hallowed be thy name," the awakening of reverence, an essential attitude without which no spiritual progress is possible. This is not external praise, but an inner recognition of the holiness present in every name, in every being. The soul learns to see the divine in all things. When you begin to perceive the world as sacred, the tree outside your window, the animal on the street, your consciousness transforms. The world ceases to be an opaque surface and becomes transparent to a deeper reality. You begin to intuit the spiritual substance that underlies all forms. This first petition acts especially upon the sentient body, the layer of the soul closest to the physical. By cultivating this attitude of reverence daily, this part of the soul is purified, refined, and made receptive to the silent messages of the spiritual world. The second petition, Thy kingdom come brings transformation to the astral body. Steiner saw in it a call to purify the passions, to transmute instinctive desire into a conscious yearning for the spiritual. The astral body is what we share with animals, the realm of emotions, sympathies, and antipathies. In the ordinary person, it is tautic, stirred by conflicting impulses. But when you utter these words with full awareness, you invite a higher order into your emotional world. The kingdom is not a future place, but a reality already present, coexisting with the physical world. Steiner called this perception imaginative clairvoyance, the ability to see the spiritual realms that permeate our everyday reality. Thy kingdom come means, open my eyes to what already is. With each conscious repetition, new structures form in the astral body. Spiritual organza, sokalde, chakrazo, lotus flowers. In Steiner's words, begin to blossom. They enable direct perception of spiritual facts, like the awakening of a new sense, comparable to the moment a blind person begins to see, revealing colors and sounds previously hidden. The third petition, Thy will be done, demands the conscious surrender of the etheric body. This is not passive submission, but active alignment with the cosmic flow. Vital forces harmonize with the rhythm of the universe. True freedom does not lie in resisting destiny, but in openness to the greater currents that sustain life. The etheric body contains the karmic planta tasks we chose before this incarnation. Yet over the course of life, we often lose touch with this inner blueprint, carried away by external circumstances and social expectations. By saying daily, Thy will be done, we practice surrender to the higher plan. We learn to distinguish between the small, stubborn will of the ego which seeks comfort, security, and recognition on the great will of the higher self, which longs for transformation, growth, and fulfillment of mission. Steiner emphasized that this surrender does not erase individuality. On the contrary, only when our personal will harmonizes with the cosmic plan does our true individuality unfold. Surrender frees us from false identities and allows our authentic being to emerge. The fourth petition, Give us this day our daily bread, holds a secret lost in many translations. In the original Greek, the word used is *epiousion*, meaning supersubstantial. Steiner was emphatic. This is not physical food, but a spiritual substance that nourishes the resurrection body, the body we will become in the future, when humanity has fully spiritualized matter. This bread is the very substance of the spiritual worlds, the condensed wisdom of higher. In the ancient mysteries, initiates received this spiritual food in symbolic rituals. The Christian Eucharist preserves the memory of this practice, but in conscious prayer, the ritual becomes internal. By making this request daily, you open yourself to an invisible current of spiritual nourishment that feeds the germ of your future body, a body of light, built prayer by prayer, piece by piece. This body does not appear suddenly. It is slowly forged through conscious spiritual work. Just as the caterpillar within its chrysalis dissolves its old form to give rise to the butterfly, the human being, upon receiving the supersubstantial bread allows inner rigidities to dissolve and a new form capable of transcending gravity, aging, and death to develop in silence. This is not an escape from the world, but its highest fulfillment. The fifth petition, Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us, touches the central karmic knot of humanity. The word trespasses, or debts in other versions, carries a double meaning: guilt and spiritual obligation. Steiner revealed that these are not mere moral failings, but energetic bonds between souls that span incarnations. Those who do not learn to forgive carry the same conflicts from life to life. Conscious forgiveness is a technology of karmic liberation. Each genuine act of forgiveness releases energies trapped in ancient resentments, restoring vitality to the soul. As long as you inwardly condemn another, you remain bound to them by invisible threads that extend beyond death. Forgiveness is not forgetting or excusing. It is releasing the emotional charge attached to memory. It is saying, I release you from my inner prison and I free myself along with you. The sixth petition, Lead us not into temptation, is protection against Lucifer, the tempter. Steiner identified in this line a defense against spiritual illusions, mystical arrogance, and flight from matter. Lucifer draws the soul upward, promising purity and sublimity, but pulling it away from its earthly mission. He whispers, "You are too elevated for this world." This temptation is subtle, because it speaks to the noblest part of the soul. Its yearning for the spiritual but seeks to divert it from the concrete task of incarnation. True evolution does not lie in abandoning the body, but in transfiguring it, not in fleeing the world, but in spiritualizing it. The spiritual path demands being fully here, with both feet on the ground and the heart in heaven. Luciferian temptation can disguise itself as supreme illumination, angelic visions, or mystical experiences. Steiner taught that authentic spiritual experiences generate humility, clarity, and love. Luciferian illusions produce isolation and pride. The seventh and final petition, "Deliver us from evil," places us before the hidden adversary. While Lucifer pulls upward, Ahriman pulls downward, fixing the soul in matter, materialism, and attachment to the transient. He wants humanity to forget its spiritual nature. In our age, this temptation is especially strong. Reductionist science, dehumanized technology, and voracious capitalism carry Ahrimanic traits. The voice that says only what can be measured exists has become so dominant that many no longer recognize it as a temptation. This final petition is armor for the soul. Steiner warned that no one can walk the spiritual path without protection. The more we open to the spiritual, the more vulnerable we become to negative influences. Here, we invoke the Christ, power stronger than all adversaries, that balances the opposing forces. Lucifer and Christ dwells at the center, sustaining the equilibrium necessary for human evolution. The final doxology, "For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory," is not submission to an external authority, but recognition of the ego's sovereignty over cosmic forces. It is the moment the soul awakens to its spiritual dignity. You are not a victim of fate, but a bearer of a Christic spark that is your true nature. This conclusion seals the entire work of the prayer. The kingdom, the power, and the glory do not belong to a distant God, but to the divine flame burning within you. But how do we live the unspeakable? Steiner insisted. The Lord's Prayer reveals its power only when each word is lived, bodily felt in the organs, breathed, allowed to resonate in silence. After each line, the difference between reciting and embodying is decisive. Those who pray mechanically reinforce habits. Those who meditate consciously rebuild the soul. A sacred rhythm is hidden within the prayer's structure. Inhale on invocations. Exhale on petitions, a pneumatic dance between heaven and earth. Breath is the bridge between body and mind. When you pray with conscious breathing, the words penetrate more deeply. And the silence after the final word is not empty. It is the space where the spiritual world responds. Steiner called this reverse listening. The most important thing often happens after the prayer ends. Remain in silence. Listen during conscious utterance. Each line reorganizes a layer of being. The etheric body begins to shine. The astral body comes. The ego awakens to its mission. The prayer acts as a tuning instrument for the totality of your being. After a year of conscious practice, you will not be the same. At the deepest level, the Lord's Prayer is not a request, but an affirmation of a spiritual destiny already fulfilled. Steiner saw in it the pronouncement of future realities. What we seek outside already dwells within us, asleep beneath layers of forgetting. To pray is not to beg for external grace, but to awaken the Christic spark at the core of the self. Those who pray in silence are never alone. This solitude is inhabited, permeated by presences from the spiritual world. The kingdom has already begun. Its riches are not future hope, but present perception. The soul that grasps this mystery seeks no external triumphs, but finds a serenity that needs no proof. Whoever has embodied the Lord's Prayer carries heaven within. When prayer becomes breath, the one who prays disappears. Only Christ remains, praying through the human form. This is the final mystery. The Lord's Prayer is Christ Himself teaching the soul to express its true identity. Now you stand at a threshold. The knowledge has been transmitted, but only daily practice walking attentively through each line will awaken this ancient power within you. Begin tonight. Pray thee, our Father, slowly, word by word. Feel how each syllable resonates in your bodies. Leave silence between the lines. Breathe consciously. Await the response from the depths. If these words touched something within you, if you sense a truth here capable of transforming your life, then let us walk together. Share in the comments which of the 7 petitions resonated most deeply in your soul. Where do you feel the strongest call? Your reflection may illuminate the path for others. Together, we bring ancient wisdom back to life. Thank you for watching this video. Leave your like and subscribe to the Living Hope channel on YouTube. Activate notifications by clicking on the bell to receive other publications.